Thank you very much. We're back for our last segment with the Students for Liberty at their conference in Washington. I want to ask you, what's it like to be a libertarian on a college campus these days? When I was in college, if I said, you know, I don't think the war on poverty is working very well, I don't think welfare has really helped poor people, they would have beaten me up. So what's it like now? Yes.
Hi, my name is Allison McCarty, and I go to Pepperdine University in Malibu, California. And this fall...
Lucky you.
I know. Somebody's got to do it. But this fall, in honor of Constitution Week, college libertarians put up a free speech wall at Pepperdine University. We had a ginormous paper up on the wall where people could write anything that they wanted. And of course, some of the things were deep, some of them were silly, and some of them were downright offensive. But it was a really organic experiment in free speech where people, if something was said that was inaccurate or offensive, people would circle it, draw lines, and refute it. But unfortunately, at the end of the week, one of the students at Pepperdine took upon himself to tear down this wall, and he called it cowardly. It was something that said him, and he shoved it into the trash can. So I was wondering what your thoughts were about what this means and how we can address university settings that are very difficult and hostile to the message of liberty.
It's very tough. I've had, when I was speaking on campuses, people put up posters, capitalism is good, and students tore them down. And I think they are sincere in that they really view free markets as unfair to the poor. They're just ignorant, and we have to educate them.
My name is Saeed Hossein. I'm from Columbia University. One of the major things that students usually find attractive in colleges is diversity, and how there's this diversity of groups of different people coming together and being intellectual and learning. But the sad truth is, especially at a school like mine and many other schools, is that there might be diversity, but there's something lacking in diversity of thought, and that's something that really needs to come out, and we really need to have everyone support different viewpoints and have...
Are you respected as a libertarian?
A little bit, by some, scoffed at by others, yelled at by socialists.
Some of your classmates, when they start paying taxes, will remember some of the things you said.
Oh yeah, oh yes, thank you.
Hi, my name's Zach Winston. I'm a student at Penn State. Through all my econ classes, free trade is generally emphasized as a good thing, as it is with many economists, but immigration is often ignored. Also, we have a social security problem in this country. Well, if we let in more immigrants, that could help raise taxes and other things, as immigrants tend to be of working age. I was just wondering your thoughts on this issue.
Well, I think letting in immigrants to improve the Social Security system is kind of like a Ponzi scheme. Eventually, they'll expect to get theirs, and so you'll just be stretching out the problem. Immigration is tougher, and there are more challenges. Letting goods cross borders is just mathematically, obviously better than trying to block them. With people can bring in diseases, people can bring in box cutters and bombs. People worry about things like that. A lot of the concerns about immigration may be racially motivated. Some are motivated by dumb economic ideas like they will take our jobs, which is just not understanding that the economy is a positive-sum game. But some are motivated by real concerns, like some immigrants might be terrorists. Nevertheless, this country is built on immigrants. My family was here before 1776, so I guess I could say, hey, we were here first, you people stay out. But I will note that a lot of the anti-immigrant people in America, Pat Buchanan, his family wasn't here before 1776. Tom Tancredo, his family wasn't here before 1776. Michelle Malkin, her family wasn't here before 1776. So my family could have kept all of them out. But it's probably a better country because we did let in the Irish, the Italians, the Filipinos, and lots of other people.
Thank you.
We're just about out of time, and I want to leave room for one more point, because David Bose said something recently that really turned my brain around about liberty, and that I complain a lot. I'm on TV saying they're taking our freedom, and Thomas Jefferson did say it's the natural progress of things for government to gain and liberty to yield. And that's what's been happening. Government is growing to the point that it's stealing your future. But there is good news that we tend to forget. When I was your age, most women could not get a credit card or start a business without their husband's permission. So a lot has changed to make us more free, and why don't you close us out with that?
Libertarians tend to say we're losing our liberties, we're getting less free all the time. We think The Road to Serfdom is a book about the world. And at the Cato Institute, we have a standard description of ourselves, and one of the things that it always said was, since the American Revolution, civil and economic liberties have eroded. And one day, Clarence Thomas came to speak at the Cato Institute, and he looked at that and he said, it doesn't really seem that way to black people. And we thought about it, and we realized he was right. So we changed that line. We talk about the threats to freedom, we talk about the growth of government, but we remember that it hasn't been all downhill since the American Revolution. I look out at you folks, and I think, when I was your age, I was worried about being drafted and sent off to Vietnam. You're not worrying about that. That is a huge increase in freedom. When I was your age, there were 3 television networks. Now there are way too many, and that's because of loosening up the market. There used to be strict restrictions on price and entry in airlines and trucking and telecommunications and finance, and we lifted a lot of those in a wave of deregulation. Sometimes I ask libertarians, when is this year that you think we were freer than we are now? I had one libertarian write something where he said 1850. We had slavery then. 4 million Americans held in chains. How is that freer? Then he said, well, maybe 1880. Okay, that's a little better, but we had Jim Crow, and we had an awful lot of restrictions on the rights of women. Gay people certainly were completely unable to live their own lives back then. So I think in a lot of ways, we are freer today in modern America than we have ever been, despite all the restrictions on liberty that we ought to talk about. We need to keep that in mind. We are not just fighting a losing battle. And along with communism, we have defeated apartheid and Nazism and fascism, and we're getting rid of military dictatorships, and we may even bring down the autocrats in the Arab world. So there has been a lot of progress. But that progress didn't happen because of historical inevitability. Some of it's technology, some of it's economic change, and a lot of it is because people changed their minds about the way the government should treat people, and they got out and did something about it. And that's why it's so important that you are here, because it is up to us to make the further changes in the direction of freedom that we need.